Hi, my name is John, and today I'm going to show you how to measure for and install the pet door guys in the glass pet door. So today we're going to put it into a sliding glass door. This can go into a swinging glass door also, so that's an option. I'm not a glass guy. I've never actually disassembled a door before, but I am a pretty handy person. And I've talked to some glass companies about it, and I think that this is pretty easy. I've had a lot of people who are interested in this door. They're just not sure about getting the installation done or whether they can do it themselves. I think it throws people off. So I'm hoping this video will show me and you how simple it is. So yeah, let's get started. We need to disassemble the door in order to get the measurements of the glass itself. I guess from what I understand, it used to be that all of the windows were the same size in the aluminum frame sliding glass doors. Since they've gone to vinyl, they're all over the map. So you really do need to take the glass out, measure it, and then put it back in. And then once you've got the measurements, then you order up the pet door. And then when it gets there, you take the glass back out and you take the pet door, which is all in its own self-contained frame, and you stick it in the place of the original glass unit. So the first thing we need to do this is take the sliding glass door out of the frame. But actually, before we do that, I'm going to do one other simple thing. I've got this razor knife here. Like I said, I called Pella, and they were nice enough to send me a PDF file that had instructions on how to take the glass out. It mentioned that there was a piece of double-sided tape around the inside here. So I'm gonna take my razor knife and I'm just gonna slice through that tape all around all four sides. So let's get this done here. There we go. Alright, so now that that's done, I can take the sliding glass door out of the track. Now, if you've never done that, it's really simple. All you do is open the door a little bit. You gotta lift the bottom of the door up so that it gets off of the rollers, and then swing it to the inside of the house and set it down. When you set it down, the top part is actually just plugged into the frame up there. So when you set it down, that part will come out of the top, and there you go, it's free. So I'll show you how that works. Okay, pretty simple. Now, this door is 6 feet. Both panels of this door total up to 6 feet. It's double pane glass. I would estimate the weight of the sliding part of this door at, it's got to be 80 pounds. I mean, it's heavy. So if you need it, get somebody to help you out. In fact, I'm going to put this thing on sawhorses, and I'm going to get somebody to help me out right now. So I will get on the sawhorses and be right back. Hold tight. Okay, so the door is out of the frame, and we've laid it out on these sawhorses here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the strips that retain the glass out of the sliding glass door frame so that we can actually get to the glass itself and make the measurements that we need to do in order to order up our pet door. I'm going to move the camera around so you can see the actual process of removing these strips a little better. Okay, this is the part of the job where you need a little bit of nerve. What I'm going to do is separate the retaining strip from the rest of the door frame here. And I'm going to use a wood chisel and a sledgehammer and a little screwdriver to do it with. The manufacturer actually shows a putty knife, a 1-inch wide putty knife. I tried that, and the putty knife, when I tried to pry this thing off, putty knife was just bending, so that didn't work for me at all. You know, maybe my strips are older or tighter or whatever. You might try that first if you're afraid to use a wood chisel. But I just went to my toolbox, found the next thing that was going to be stronger than the putty knife, and this was it. So you're actually doing this away from the glass. The glass is inset here, maybe 3/16 or 1/4 of an inch. So you're not going to break the glass here. It is scary looking, but it's really not that big of a danger. So let me show you how this is done here. Just a couple good taps here to get the chisel in, and then you can pry it away. Now you can see it moving a little bit there. I actually find that I can't get it all the way out with one bite, so I have to get my flathead in there and then kind of work it out progressively. And we're almost there. There we go. So that is out. Once that starts to come out, this piece just peels right off. And there is the edge of our glass. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again for all 4 sides, and then I'll pick up again and show you how to measure the glass. Alright, so just like the first one, the other 3 retaining strips came out very quickly. I mean, I think the whole retaining strip removal process took me a total of about 5 minutes for all 4 sides. Really not that big of a deal. One thing that I think is kind of interesting is the Pella instructions on doing this said pry them out right from the corner. And I had a lot of trouble prying it from the corner. I think it's a lot easier to pry it in the middle because there's not as much force holding it into the joint as there is right in the corner where 2 pieces come together. So a little tip for you there if you have this kind of pry out style is maybe go in the center. But now that we've got the retaining strips off, we can get these out of the way and get to measuring. Now, the edge of the glass is exposed, so this is really simple. You can just hook onto it with your tape measure here. And in this case, we've got 28 and 5/16 on the width. And then height, same way, just hook onto the glass. And our height is 68 inches. So that needs to be, you need to fill out your order form, and there's a spot there for width and height. There's also one for thickness. And for thickness, it's kind of hard to measure. You could, take the full width of the frame and then subtract the amount on each side, but I think the easiest thing to do is to pull the glass up a little bit in the corner, on one corner, and then get it out. So what I'm using here is not that knife, this knife. It's just a little razor knife, and I just went around the glass to make sure that there was no silicone in there, and then I just pried the glass up just enough that I could take the tape measure and hook onto it. Another thing you can do, if you're a handy, do-it-yourselfer kind of guy and you happen to have a dial indicator like I've got, or gal, you can use the back side of this. The bottom side of this is kind of like a depth gauge. So you can actually slide this in right past the glass, and this is reading 1 inch and 50 thousandths. Now, this is a 1 inch piece of glass. There's a little bit of slop in there for the retaining strips, but yeah, 1 inch is the actual thickness of this. So you fill that out. You pick what side you want the pet door on and all that sort of thing, and then you're good to go with ordering. When you've done that, actually, what typically people do is now they reinstall these things. So maybe I should show you that real quick. If you want to reinstall one of these retaining strips, basically you just plug it in at the corners. And there is a little groove, separate little groove that it has to go into. You got to get it in the right spot. And then tap it back in with your hammer here. That's it. So same thing on all 4 sides, and then you can put your sliding glass door back in, and now you're waiting for 3 weeks for the pet door to show up, or 3 weeks to build, and then whatever the shipping time is for you. And then when it gets back, you do the same thing. You pull this off, and you take this glass out, and you take your new pet door glass and put it in, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. All right, let's take the glass out. Now, the glass, you're supposed to put a dab of silicone in the 4 corners here. And evidently when they put this door together, they did that. There's a big fat glob around the corners of the glass. So I use this razor knife. I really like these things because they're cheap. And you can replace the blades. Anyway, I use this razor knife and I just cut around the frame, between the frame and the glass, on all four corners here, and that enabled me to get the glass loose from the frame. So now it is loose, so if I push up, you can see that it just comes right out. Now it's going to be a little tricky to get it out of there with one person. My wife slash helper has gone away, so it's just me now. I'm going to see if I can do this without breaking it. And yeah, let's give it a shot. So. There we go. These are my daughter Katie's family portraits, by the way. That's me. Okay, so the pet door. The pet door should fit right back in the same spot. You could do a big glob of silicone in the corners. I'm not going to do that right now just because I have to get all that stuff and I just don't want to take the time. But let's go ahead and put this in anyway. Learn something. Gotta put the handle side down. Let's try that again. Alright, there it is. So, the new glass unit with the pet door and all of that, it's all self-contained, fits right in. Now we're just going to put in our strips again to retain the new pet door. This is just like before, just fit it into its own little slot there, and tap it in. There's one. Twist that one up. Gotta get the corners in first. Corners don't get in first. They won't get in later. Let's try again. There we go. All right, that is essentially it. This thing is installed. All I need to do is pick it back up and put it back in the door. But the tough part, getting the glass out and in, is not as tough as you might have thought if you've never done it before. Certainly easier than I expected it to be. Okay, so here it is. This is the Pet Door Guy's pet door installed through a sliding glass door. So now that we've seen what goes into the installation, let's talk about the actual pet door itself for a minute here. So the pet door flap. This is an Endura flap, and it's a pretty unique one. The flap is about 3/4 of an inch thick. I hope you can see that there. It's got these flexible bellows on the sides. And then it has magnet strips that go all the way down the sides. And there's a floating bar at the bottom. So what happens to your typical vinyl pet door flap is when it gets cold, the vinyl shrinks and you're left with a gap around the sides and the bottom. This one, because it's got the magnets on the ends of the bellows, it always stretches out and hits, and you get a good seal down the sides. And then on the bottom, that bottom bar jumps up and hits the bottom of the flap as well. Most pet doors wear out at the top because the flap has to flex to open. This one, because it's on a hinge, that saves a lot of the wear. And I think I said it was flexible. I don't think I showed it, so there you go. It is a flexible flap. They put this pet door in a wind tunnel. They did it with the medium size. This is a large, but they did it with a medium. And it took a 40 mile per hour wind to blow it open. Really, really, really weather-tight door. So yeah, there you go. It also comes with a locking cover. Locking cover has a spring-loaded pin on it, so that once it's installed, you can't reach it from the outside and lift it out. You have to be able to just compress the pin to get it out there. The frame itself that goes around the window in between the pet door and the glass on this side is vinyl. It comes in white and tan. Pet doors match. They have a white and a tan pet door that matches, and so there's pretty good color coordination. You can see it fits right in with my white sliding glass door here. This is a pellet door again. Matches just perfectly. The glass, it is double pane glass. It's not as thick as the original unit because the new adapter frame is as thick as the original unit was. So I'm not sure exactly what this is. I would guess that it is 1/8 inch thick glass with a 1/4 inch spacer, which makes it a 1/2 inch total. And then the pet door, or the framing that they use to adapt the pet door in, adds another 1/4 inch on each side, and that's how you get your 1 inch total glass thickness, which is what we had on the original window in this door. You can get this glass with low-E coatings. There's several different coatings. The higher the number, the better the coating is. This is in the north side of a walkout basement in Seattle, so there's no sun at all hitting this. If you're in Phoenix or something, if this is on your south side, you might want the low-E coating, but probably the rest of your door has it. Now, obviously, there's no coating on this door, no tint either, so there's just no point in adding those things on to this particular model. There's another thing that's called the rise. Now the rise is a distance from the floor to the bottom of the pet door, so it's like the step over height. Now, every sliding glass door manufacturer uses different frame. This one is relatively thick at the top and the bottom. This one is about 5 inches thick. So you got 5 inches to start with, and then the pet door itself, or the pet door guys and the pet door together, adds another 3 inches. So from the floor to the bottom of this flap is about 8 inches off the ground. And that's fine for a large-sized dog. Like this would be just perfect for a lab, golden retriever, German shepherd, things like that, up to about 100 pounds, 110 pounds, somewhere in there. But it would not be the best for a corgi or a dachshund or something that had Shih Tzu, something with really short little legs. So when you do this, you got to take into account the pet door itself is going to be 3 inches above whatever your window frame is. And if your window frame is 5 inches tall like this, you're going to end up with 8 inches. If it's a really short window frame, then that'll fit your shorter dogs better. If this is not enough rise, like if you had a really tall dog, like a Weimaraner would be a good example. They can get up to maybe 30 inches tall. So again, this is a 19-inch tall flap with 8 inches underneath it, so it's 27 at the top of the frame. Weimaraner is probably a little taller than the frame here. And for those guys, you don't want them to have to crouch to get underneath the top of the flap. So you can have a rise. There's another option for a rise on this. Now the rise takes another piece of framing and sticks it underneath the pet door to lift it up. One piece of framing adds 2 inches, 2 pieces of framing adds 4 inches. On this side, you get a taller window, but on this side, you get the spacer underneath the pet door. So with a 4-inch spacer under there, and again with a 5-inch tall piece of frame margin at the bottom, you're going to end up with basically a foot below the pet door. So a foot below the pet door puts you at, what would that be, 31 inches to the top of the flap. So that's pretty tall. Your 30-inch tall Weimaraner can cruise right through there and not have to crouch. In the extra large size is a 12-inch wide pet door, and it's 23 inches tall. So now you're at like 35 inches to the top of the flap. That is big enough for a Great Dane that's skinny. They have to be if there's big fat Great Dane, it's not going to work. But a skinny one, Afghan, Irish Wolfhound, pretty big dog can fit through that door as long as they can do the 12 inches width. So if you're trying to figure that out, just open the door 12 inches, call a dog through, see how it fits, and if it works for the width, it's going to work for the height, even for a really tall dog with that extra rise underneath. But we almost never sell the rise option for a small or a medium. Really, it's going to be the large and the extra large, and again, really tall breeds are the ones that are going to need it. This thing is great because, a panel pet door, you can buy this exact flap in a panel, and it's a great panel, but it takes up, I measured it out, it takes up about this much room, so it's going to take that much room of your door up, which means you're left with maybe about that much left, to get through. When I was in California, I lived pretty close to the beach, and we used to like to barbecue all the time, and we had something like that going in our house. The problem was I could squeeze sideways and suck it in and fit through, but we used to barbecue all the time, and I couldn't get the plate of food out the door. So, for situations like that, yeah, you could take the panel out and put it back in, but it's kind of a hassle. This one, you just don't have to deal with it. Another thing is, this door has a keyed lock on it from the outside. Again, not a big deal here because we're on the north side of the house in a walkout basement, but for a lot of people in Florida and in the south, where it's warmer, this might be the front door to their house. The front door of their house might be a keyed sliding glass door. And if that's the case, it's difficult to adapt a panel to that sort of situation. Here you have no problems at all. It is possible to put the pet door on the stationary side, but the pet door has some extra thickness on it, and it will prevent the sliding glass door from opening all the way if it's on the stationary side. Obviously, if it's on the opening side and the sliding glass door is on the inside, which should be installed, then you won't have any problems. So there you go. I think that just about covers it. I really like this. And, the installation, I'm not a glass guy. I've never done this before. But I got the instructions from the manufacturer, and it wasn't that hard. It really wasn't. So I hope that this will convince you to do it yourself, or at least not scare you off if you think you have to have a glass company come and do it, because it's just not that much work to do. Anyway, there it is. Pet door guys in the glass, sliding glass door. Very cool. Love this thing. Thanks for watching.